Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. However, this video may find you, I hope that all is well. All right, in the new decade, 2020. That's what our checkbook says. That's what the calendar says. Although the first month of the year for the Hebrew months won't be until March the 25th. March the 25th is the first day of Abib, in case you didn't know it. I'm going to do a lesson on calculating the feast days. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend or not. I may do it because a lot of people want to know the dates for the feast days coming up. And I may do that, but who knows? But I brought up 2020 New Decade for one reason. And I'm looking at the political climate that has happened out there, the political climate. I very seldom, as you all know, talk about politics, but I'm going to talk about it today. Laughter, how you doing? Blessed and healthy, how you doing? So we're going to talk about politics today. Politics. And let me tell you why we're going to talk about politics. Because I have been watching some, not all, some of this impeachment trial. And let me just let y'all know something, okay? I mean, you can waste your time watching it. It is a stage, and the outcome has already been determined. So I'm just going to give you some basic 101 stuff. I'm just looking for something real quick. Give me a second. I'm not gone far. So I'm going to give you some basic 101 tips and some hints as to what's really going on. Okay. So number one, and I am driving safe, so don't you all worry about that. Got my seatbelt on. So let me let you know what's going on. Let's start with the House of Representatives. Everybody is considered a congressional member, a member of Congress. Everybody is. You have the House and you have the Senate. You all know that. But I like to bring it up because some of my viewers could be not informed of it or don't really care, but I want to bring it up anyway. So sometimes you will have a situation where both the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate could all be the same political party, whether Democrat or whether political affiliation. Currently, what we have is that we have the members are predominantly in the U.S. Senate. Most of the Senate members are predominantly Republicans with a Republican president. Whenever you have an impeachment, the House starts it. It's the U.S. Senate that has the trial. Okay, they have the trial. So the Democrats in the House of Representatives initiated the investigation, started the investigation, and asked questions. Do you think that was improper for the president? Yes. How did you feel? And of course, when they do that, you're getting the basis of their case is that the president misused his power. But now the individuals that are interviewing them, of course, are predominantly. You are in the midst of an election for 2020 that will start in November. That's when the election day is, November of 2020. Representatives, the House of Representatives, which is predominantly Republicans, are going to impeach a Republican president. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Of the House. Representatives. Now, I want to make this clear. I'm not pushing either party. I'm not pushing either party, okay? Just simply letting you know what's happening out there. This Senate is not going to do it. They're not going to do it. President Trump, like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. He's going to win the 2020 election. I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm not saying I'm sad. I'm just telling you the obvious, that Ray Charles is dead, but Ray Charles can see this, okay? The Democrats, in my opinion, fell into a trap. And the trap that they fell into was they were taunted by President Trump to impeach him. Impeach me. Impeach me. If you got something, impeach me. If you think you can, impeach me. Impeach me. And Nancy Pelosi, in my opinion, fell for it. Now, why is that a trap? Trump has a base, and she woke up that base and more, who will become sympathizers of Donald Trump. In the midst of that going on, you have a Democratic Party that still has probably 10 individuals that are running to be the Democratic nominee. And here we are in January, and the election is 9 months away. 11 months away. Next month, in a few days, we'll be 10 months away from an election. And keep in mind, you have to have an individual that the Democratic Party at the Democratic Convention is going to say, this is our candidate. So you haven't even had the primaries. And usually at this stage and point, you only have just a few people. Like, you remember when Obama ran, it was just between mainly he and Hillary Clinton. That was it. And they had all the town hall debates. It was only Barack and Hillary. Okay? We still got 10 people or better that's in the Democratic Party that nobody knows who's going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. Nobody knows. And if you think that the Republican Party is going to throw the president out and impeach him, it's not going to happen. So that's why I say PoliTrixs. It's all a stage. It's all a show. They got to go through the formal process of hearing these witnesses, and at the end of the day, they're not going to impeach you. And here's why they're not going to impeach you. When you're in office, unless it's something dealing with something like Bill Clinton went through, they're not going to impeach you. They're not. And most parties are going to say this: a bad Republican is better than no Republican at this point in time. So they're going to make sure that he stays in. And here's why. Think what would happen if the Republican Senate impeached Donald Trump. Then they would have to put Michael Pence as the president. And the question is, could Michael Pence be a Democratic president? Well, basically what you do is you put everything, you make everything equal. Everything's going to be equal. And they're not going to roll the dice and take that kind of chance. Not going to happen. And they're going to roll with Donald Trump. They're going to keep him in control. It's going to be for another 4 years. And that's it. I mean, The handwriting is on the wall. And what the Democrats, here's what the Democrats are hoping. They're hoping that the American people will see what the Senate did by not impeaching him, that it will make the American people upset, so upset that the Senate, who is up for re-election, that they will get voted out as a result of not impeaching Donald Trump and replace it with a Democratic senator. So therefore, the Senate will be ran by the Democrats, and the House of Representatives will be run by the Democrats. And you, even if you still maintain having a Republican president, senators have been replaced who are Republicans with Democrats. And then the Democrats will continue to rule the House. And so you have basically a 2-1 situation. You got the House and the Senate, who are mainly Democrats with a Republican president. And they could get lucky, and it will be lucky, if the president did not get reelected. You could end up with a Republican House, a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate with a Democratic president. I don't see that. The odds of that is probably 1%, and it's not going to happen. What it looks like is going to happen is you're going to wake up a base that Donald Trump has, and you're going to increase that base, and you're going to have a record number of people coming out to vote, probably higher when Obama ran for president, probably higher. Because you got to remember, when Obama ran for president, it woke up a minority group that came out to vote. The other majority people, they just didn't come out. They just didn't show up. But when Donald Trump ran for president, and everybody was tired of the Democratic president, and that happens every 4 years. Whenever a Democrat or a Republican president serves 2 terms, the next president more than likely will be the opposite party that president was in. So Barack was a Democratic president. He won for 2 consecutive terms, and so we ended up with a Republican president. So that's what happened. In this situation, Donald Trump won because he started to make statements that people thought, I'm talking about the majority, thought, but they would not say. They would not say. They would not dare openly say what Donald Trump says. Because with Donald Trump, there is no couth. There is no couth with him. He's not a politician. So he says whatever he's thinking. And a lot of individuals, it woke up people. It woke up people. It woke up a sleeping majority that came out and voted for him, that shocked the Democratic Party, that totally shocked them. And so now that you're coming after their candidate, now that you're coming after their guy, it's going to wake up, not only will it wake up and continue to wake up those that were sleeping, but it will also draw in other individuals that will continue to support him behind the scenes. Because I can tell you right now, you have a movement called Blexit. That's B-L-E-X-I-T. Check it out. Check them out on YouTube. Just put in the word Blexit. There's a guy named Elroy. There's a guy named Elroy. I think it's James Elroy, Candace Owens. They've been, especially Candace Owens, she's been going around to major universities, and I hear also at some HBCUs, historical black colleges and universities. And they have started chapters called Blexit. Now, Blexit is a movement that is a group of black conservatives who are neither Republican or Democrat, but they have conservative values, and they're going to vote Republican. They're going to vote Republican. And they're going to vote Republican for a number of reasons. One is there's certain things that, because Republicans are in office, there are certain values that they are dealing with, laws that are dealing with moral values that they won't pass. For instance, I forgot what state the other day. There's a state, I want to say Idaho or Iowa. It was one of the states that began with the letter I. I believe it was one of those. And it went to the courts, and the case was lost. So there was a group that was pushing for teenagers under 18 to have the right to have a sex change operation. So if somebody who was of one gender wanted to be of another gender, and if they were underage, they can go get the surgery. That particular state says no. They said enough's enough. There's a cutoff. We got to have some couth here. And they said no. And that was a Republican-ran state. So it's values like that, moral values, or what people can consider to be conservative values, that there are a lot of blacks who are in the Blexit movement. They are moving out of the Democratic Party, and they are a part of the Blexit movement. Remember, you got Brexit, B-R-E-X-I-T, which is Britain exiting the European Union, but this is B-L-E-X-I-T, blacks exiting the Democratic Party. And they are becoming conservatives. They're registering as conservatives. Candace Owens, young black female, she is a Trump supporter. But basically what her movement is simply saying is that the Democrats have hurt minorities. It was the Democrats that initiated the predatory sentencing on crime, such as 10-20 life, back during the crack cocaine days. They were putting people in jail who were users and addicts, and she's showing that people who are in opioids, it is a medical condition. But it was the Democrats that put forth laws: 3 strikes, you're out, 10-20 life if you use a gun, 10 years if you use a gun, if you commit a crime using a gun, 20 years if you shoot or fire the weapon, life if you shoot the weapon and injure or kill somebody. And it was called 10-20 life. And there were these were sentencing guidelines that if you were convicted, the judge and the jury, they can convict you, but as far as sentencing, your sentence was already law. If you committed a crime, even if it was your first offense, if you committed a crime with a gun, no matter what kind of crime it was. I mean, sometimes you can get it into a domestic situation, and if you had a gun on you and you didn't pull it out, bam, that was 10 years minimum sentencing guidelines, minimum mandatory is what they call it. And they would say in court, what are the men? They would say, what are the mans on it? Mans were the minimum mandatory guidelines, and nobody could get you out of that. Not even the judge could change that law. And so the Brexit movement is saying, look at what they did. The Democrats hurt us. And of course, Kamala Harris was a U.S. attorney in California, and she put more people in jail, minorities in jail, than any other state in the union. So that hurt her real bad. So she eventually dropped out because that was going to come up. They was going to hit her with that. So when you have those type of minimum mandatory laws, it hurts. And remember, Donald Trump has been doing something lately that the news media is not covering. Fox covers it because that's a Republican channel. But what President Trump has been doing is he's been pardoning a lot of those individuals who are in those categories, who went to jail. They were crack users. It was the third time or third arrest because they did not get the medical help that people on opioids get today. The insurance companies on these jobs are covering that as a sickness. And back in the cocaine days and the other drug usage days, they didn't have that. If you got arrested once, they slap you on the hand. Twice, you stay in jail for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Third time, you got minimum mandatory sentencing, 10 years. Some states, 10 years. Some states, it was higher. You went to jail, was nothing anybody could do. You can pack up the courtroom. The judge will say, I'm sorry. It's law. It's nothing I can do. This is the third time you were arrested for the same offense. Although it's a usage, although it's an addiction, I'm sorry. I know you've been in jail for a month or 2 months or 6 months waiting for the trial, and now you're clean and you're drug-free because you got help while you were in jail. But unfortunately, my hands are tied. 10 years. Boom. That's it. You went to jail. Well, Trump is letting a lot of those people out. He's pardoning them. He's giving them a pardon. He's bringing them to the White House. He's having all of these, camera shots and saying, Barack didn't do this for you, but I did. And I told you, I'm going to do more for you than Barack did. Now, why Barack didn't do it, I don't know. And if he did do it, certainly we got no news media attention on it. And there's no record that anybody's highlighting that this is what Barack went back and did. But Trump is doing it. He's done it almost like 10, 15 times. He's had 10 or 15 of these things where he's just let people out and pardoned them. So Candace is highlighting that and pushing that. So all I'm saying is that this impeachment trial is nothing but a show. If you think in a dream that the Senate is going to impeach their Republican Party president, you got another thing coming. Not going to happen. So that being said, I got to go. Let me just see who's in the chat room. Elaine, how you doing from Cincinnati? Brother Israel, how you doing? It seems to me that in the business of perdition, be care, Mr. Johnson, y'all still on the throne control. Absolutely. That's who's controlling it, Brother Israel. That's why I tell people the Almighty's in control. He's running this because In order for America to take a second seat, it has to be a president that will pull troops, and he's a president that's doing it. So yeah, I mean, it's prophecy. It's happening. Nobody can change it. So listen, I want to say peace to all of you all, and in order for the Bible to be fulfilled, he's on the throne. And the Almighty put him there, by the way. And I believe the Almighty is going to keep him there. Because pieces on the chessboard have to be orchestrated so that prophecy can be fulfilled. Russia, China, and Turkey have to advance. They have to. All that being said, peace.